I thought that I was well prepared on the day of my formal evaluation. I had all of my I's dotted and all of my T's crossed until I discovered instead of one of my I's being dotted, one of my eyes were closed. The eyes of one of my students who decided to fall asleep on the day of my evaluation. Can you imagine the thoughts that ran through my mind? I thought about how my mother, she often encouraged me to get into education. And I would often say to her that teaching requires a lot of patience. And I didn't have a lot of patience. And at that very moment, my patience was put to the test. Do I tap her on the shoulder? Do I shake the student to get her attention? Or do I yell at the student to get her attention? All of these thoughts ran through my mind. While being evaluated, I had to make an evaluation. So I decided to tap on the shoulder to get her attention, and I continued teaching. And it was later in private that I approached her, and I asked her, why was she not attentive in class that day? She responded by saying, my mother and I was put out of our apartment the night before, and we rode around all night with nowhere to go. And as a result, I didn't get much sleep last night. It was in that moment that I heard that young girl's heart. And it often reminds me that oftentimes many of us, we fail to hear the hearts of people that we interact with daily because we don't have an open heart. I thought about how the trajectory of my life changed when I bumped into a friend at a local restaurant in Memphis, and he asked me a critical question. He said, do you have a passion for teaching because we need more black men in education? My answer was yes, and in just 3 weeks, I was in the classroom teaching. In just 3 weeks. Well, so while I entered into education, many things transpired. I remember, in fact, being in education. And there was this one kid that was often misunderstood. Stayed in trouble in school, was often suspended almost every week. Almost every week. And while I'm in education, and I'm looking at this student, I'm reminded that oftentimes many of us, we fail to hear the hearts of people that we interact with daily because we don't have an open heart. And oftentimes we miss the gift because we're focused on the package that it's wrapped in. I remember my first experience teaching was at a school in Strongsville, Ohio. And there was this one kid, he was often misunderstood. And I remember him being in trouble almost every day. And teachers would often say that he was a bad kid. But I would always say that there's no such thing as bad kids, but only learned behavior. And many teachers would say that he was a bad kid. So one day, I suggested to that teacher, if that kid is a bad kid, if a kid is bad in one class, a kid should be bad in every other class. So I suggest to you, if that same kid can go to one class and be a great kid, then why can't he go to the other classes and be a great kid? The answer is simple. The other teachers understood the importance of building relationships. The other teachers understood the importance of making sure that each child feel heard, valued, and appreciated. And it was in private that I approached that young boy and I asked him a critical question. I said, do you like being bad every day? Do you really like getting in trouble every single day? And I wanted to know because I was often misevaluated. I stayed in trouble every week. I was suspended almost every week. And I told him, I said, I even failed the third grade. He said, you failed the third grade? I said, yes, I failed the third grade. He said, well, what did you do to fail the third grade? I said, apparently I didn't do nothing. So we're going back and forth, and I said, okay, this is not about me, it's about you. So I want to know, why are you acting out in class every single day? He responded by saying, you really want to know why I act out in class every day? I said, yeah, I want to know. He said, you don't want to know why I act out in class every day? I said, yeah, I do. He said, well, my mother was killed right in front of me. He said, you really want to know why I act out in class every day? He said, I saw my brother died right in front of me. You really want to know why I act out of class every day? He said, I'm staying with my auntie right now, and she's strung out on drugs. I said, you know what? I didn't understand. And you're right. You've been through more at 11 years old than many adults have ever been through. See, sometimes what we see as a problem is actually an opportunity. It's an opportunity to build a relationship. It's an opportunity to make a connection that will leave a lasting impact. It's an opportunity to make a child feel seen, heard, and valued. Don't misevaluate the situation. Don't miss the opportunity to make it about the child. Because sometimes what we see as problems are actually opportunities. So be careful not to see people as problems. Because if you see them as problems, you'll try to solve them. But if you see people as people, you will serve them. And that's why each year I told each of my students to come up with their own handshakes. Because I saw them as people. And you know what? People need human interaction. People need to know that they're loved. People need to know that they're valued. And students who are people need to know that they are more than just a test score. See, you have to be able to catch the fish before you can clean the fish. Many of us, we're trying to clean a fish that we haven't caught yet. And many of us, you see, we go to the fish market because it's a lot less messy. And it don't smell as bad. But the work that we do as teachers, the work that we do as leaders, is not for the fish market mentality. Because you cannot lift what you don't love. So say this after me. It's bigger than me. It's bigger than me. It's bigger than me. Yeah, it's bigger than you. Don't miss the opportunity to evaluate the situation. And don't miss the opportunity to make it about the child. Remember, what we see as a problem is actually an opportunity. So don't miss the opportunity to make it about the person. My mentor once said that sometimes we're good seed but planting in bad soil. And oftentimes we miss the gift because we're focused on the package that it's wrapped in. We have the most important job in the world, and that's to help to prepare the next generation of leaders. Socrates once said, the education is the kindling of a flame, not the filling of a vessel. And as I found myself unpacking this powerful narrative, I'm reminded of the education journey of my very own. I stand before you today as the byproduct of great teachers and not so great teachers also. I know that may sound like an alarming statement, but it's the truth. And the true essence of who I am today as a former teacher to now recruitment advisor and education consultant stems from the very fact that I've gone from being counted out to counted on. So if you Google me now, what pops up are viral videos of classroom impact, a commercial with the clothing line Gap, inspiring all my students beyond the traditional content. However, behind those viral victories are hidden battles that led to build the platforms of success. I am the Dope Educator. I discover, overlook potential in everyone. Thank you.